Shut up, human, we're freezing. Get into my bed immediately, the alien woman ordered. The heating grids had given up sometime between Jonah's second attempt at welding a cracked pipe and his third muttered curse at the universe. The research outpost above Europa always wheezed like an asthmatic refrigerator, but tonight it was on the verge of becoming a tomb. His breath puffed out in small clouds, drifting upward toward flickering lights that looked ready to give up too. He rubbed his gloved hands together, muttered about how engineers were criminally underpaid, and kicked a frozen panel for good measure. The panel clanged, sent pain through his boot, and stayed broken. He shuffled down the corridor, shoulders hunched, cursing the chill in every language he knew plus a few he made up on the spot. If the coffee machine freezes again, I'm suing Jupiter, he said to no one. His voice echoed off the metallic walls, followed by the faint groan of stressed metal plates, like the station was laughing at him. When he reached the habitation deck, the temperature had dropped so low the bulkhead seals wore frost like lace. Jonah tugged his jacket tighter, though it was already zipped to his chin. He thought longingly of Earth, of heat, of sun, of socks that didn't feel like frozen corpses strapped to his feet. The thought was interrupted by movement in the corridor. Lyra stood there, her frost-pale skin shimmering faintly under the flickering emergency strips. Her long ears twitched at every creak of the hull, their tips dusted with crystals as though the cold itself had chosen her as its companion. She wasn't bundled in layers like him. Instead, she wore the sleek envoy suit that made Jonah wonder if aliens just didn't believe in warmth or if she was simply too stubborn to admit she was freezing. "You," she said, her voice carrying that strange resonance that always made him feel like she was speaking directly into his bones. "You look half dead." "Half," Jonah sniffed. "Generous. I'm about 3/4 dead. The last quarter is caffeine." She tilted her head, ears twitching again, and narrowed those pale eyes at him. Then she stepped forward, grabbed his wrist with hands as cold as the metal walls, and tugged him toward the crew quarters. "Hey, whoa, Lyra, listen. I appreciate the kidnapping, but—" "Shut up, human," she snapped, her tone sharp but not cruel. "We're freezing. Get into my bed immediately." Jonah froze in more ways than one. His brain went blank, then rebooted with static and panic. "Okay, just so we're clear, that is either the weirdest pickup line in human history or—" She yanked him through the hatch, shoved him toward her narrow bunk, and gave him a look that could have frozen lava. Body heat exchange. Survival. "Oh," Jonah said, blinking. "Right. Of course. Strictly scientific. No fun allowed. Got it." Lyra pushed him down onto the bunk, slid in beside him, and pulled the thin thermal blanket over them both. Her skin radiated cold, so cold that Jonah hissed and flinched before his own warmth began to seep into her. She let out the faintest sigh, almost a purr, though her face remained stern. "See, useful," she said. Jonah stared at the ceiling, trying very hard not to think about the fact that he was spooning an alien envoy whose ears kept twitching dangerously close to his nose. "Useful, sure. I've always wanted my resume to read. Professional space heater, grade B." "You complain too much," Lyra murmured, adjusting so her arm pressed against his side. "Humans are noisy." "Sorry. Some of us process imminent hypothermia with sarcasm, others with frosty glares." Her lips twitched, almost a smile, though she hid it quickly. "If your sarcasm keeps me alive, then keep talking." Jonah considered that, then grinned faintly. "All right. Did I ever tell you about the time I tried to microwave soup in zero gravity? Let's just say Newton's laws apply to tomatoes, too." She huffed, a sound that might have been laughter. The tension in her shoulders eased, just slightly. Her cold skin was warming, slowly, and Jonah realized she was clinging a little tighter than she wanted him to notice. The station groaned around them, another panel somewhere giving way. Jonah tried to ignore it. For once, the chaos outside the bunk wasn't the loudest thing in the room. It was the steady rhythm of Lyra's breath against his chest, the way her ears flicked every time he shifted, the reluctant warmth spreading between them. He closed his eyes, still smiling. "You know, Lyra, if anyone walks in right now, I'm telling them this was your idea." "It was my idea," she replied flatly. So shut up and keep me warm. Bossy, he muttered. But fine. Just remember, I charge by the hour. Her ears twitched again, and this time she didn't hide the small laugh that escaped her. For the first time since the heat grid failed, the station felt a little less cold. Jonah woke with the uncomfortable awareness that something cold and pointy was jabbing into his ribs. He cracked one eye open and found Lyra's long ear wedged against him like an icicle with malicious intent. He tried to shift away, but the bunk was so narrow that he ended up rolling half onto her arm. She made a noise halfway between a growl and a sigh, opened her eyes, and fixed him with a stare that could have frozen magma. "You move too much," she muttered. "Sorry, princess. I didn't realize your bed came with rules." "Everything comes with rules," Jonah groaned, burying his face against the thin pillow. "What about sleep?" "That is a rule," she said. "You failed it." He laughed, muffled into the pillow, before the reality of their situation slunk back into his brain. The station groaned somewhere deep in its bones, a reminder that the heating grid hadn't magically fixed itself overnight. He peeled himself out of the bunk with the grace of a drunk walrus and sat up. His breath misted in the air. Still freezing. Still dying. Still unpaid. Lyra sat up more smoothly, her silver-white hair sliding over her shoulder. She ignored his grumbling, tapping the side of her wristband to check system readouts. The power drain increased again. If it continues, the reactor core will fail within a week. "Good news first thing in the morning," Jonah said. "Love it. Really sets the tone for the day." He rubbed his hands together, then pointed at her wristband. "You're not telling me something. Every time you check that thing, your ears twitch like satellite dishes picking up bad news." Her ears twitched. "See," he said, grinning. "Dead giveaway." Lyra gave him another stare, but this time her lips curved just slightly. "You are observant for someone who trips over every second cable." "That was one time." "3 times." "Okay, but one dramatic fall counts as 3 in my book." She shook her head and stood, her boots crunching softly on the thin film of frost across the floor. Jonah followed her out into the corridor, where the lights flickered in an irregular rhythm, as if the station itself was having a panic attack. He tried to keep up with her long strides, muttering under his breath about how she was built for elegance, while he was built for slipping on icy floors. They made their way down to the maintenance deck. Jonah crouched beside a cracked console, pried open a panel with numb fingers, and sighed at the mess of frostbitten wires inside. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Whoever designed this system should be shot into the sun. Lyra crouched beside him, her face close enough that he could see the faint shimmer of frost still clinging to her cheekbones. "You complain every time you fix something." "That's how I bond with machines," he said, tugging at a stubborn wire. "They like tough love." "Do they respond?" "Not usually, but it makes me feel better before they explode." She huffed softly, and Jonah realized she was laughing again, in her very controlled, alien way. The sound made the cold a little easier to bear. He finished patching the wires together with a grunt and sealed the panel. The lights flickered, steadied, then flickered again. "See," he said. "Fixed. Mostly. 80% fixed." Lyra's ears twitched. 80% is insufficient. 80% keeps us alive. The other 20% is for dramatic tension. They moved deeper into the maintenance tunnels, where the frost thickened and the air felt thinner. Jonah's breath echoed, loud in the silence. Lyra stopped suddenly, raising a hand, her ears angled forward, sharp, alert. "What is it?" Jonah whispered. She pointed ahead. Embedded in the wall was a faint blue glow, pulsing like a heartbeat. Jonah frowned and stepped closer. It wasn't a system light. It wasn't anything he'd installed. He reached out, but Lyra caught his wrist. "Don't touch it," she said, her voice low. "Wasn't planning to. I just like to admire glowing, ominous things in the wall." He squinted. "Okay, maybe I was planning to touch it. But still." The glow pulsed again, stronger this time. The frost on the walls shivered, as if stirred by the light. Jonah leaned back, unnerved. "All right, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's not standard equipment." "No," Lyra said quietly. It is not. Jonah glanced at her. She wasn't meeting his eyes. Instead, she was staring at the glow like it had been waiting for her. Her ears twitched again, faster this time. You know what it is, Jonah said slowly. Her silence confirmed it more than words ever could. He exhaled sharply, rubbing his forehead. Of course you know. Because why wouldn't my life include mystery alien nightlights? Let me guess, classified. Lyra's eyes flicked to him, cool and sharp. For now. Great. Love being left in the dark. Literally and metaphorically. It's my favorite. The glow pulsed again, and the entire tunnel creaked as if the station itself didn't approve of jokes. Jonah swallowed hard, forcing a grin. Fine. Don't tell me. But if that thing eats us, I'm haunting you. Lyra's lips curved in the faintest smile. You are already noisy alive. As a ghost, you would be intolerable. See, you get me. They stood there, side by side, the blue glow flickering against their faces. For once, Jonah didn't try another joke. The station felt like it was holding its breath, waiting for something to break. Jonah spent the next morning trying very hard not to think about the glowing thing in the wall, which meant, of course, that it was the only thing rattling around in his skull. He pretended to focus on repairing a ventilation unit, but his brain kept circling back to the pulsing blue light, the way Lyra had stared at it like it was an old friend who'd shown up uninvited. Every time he opened his mouth to ask her what it was, she would give him that look, calm, icy final. He'd learned that when Lyra gave you that look, you either shut up or risk losing an eyebrow to frostbite. So he settled for muttering to the ventilation unit instead. Don't worry, buddy. At least you're not glowing ominously. Just wheezing like a chain smoker. He tightened a bolt. The unit rattled in protest, and he sighed. Yeah, I love you too. Lyra appeared behind him without a sound. He nearly smacked his head against the bulkhead. Could you not sneak up on me like some frosty ninja? Humans need warning bells or something. I walk normally, she said. Your definition of normal is creepy. Just saying. She crouched down beside him, checking his work. Her ears twitched. This repair will hold. Translation: Congratulations, Jonah. You didn't completely screw up. He grinned at her. Thanks for the vote of confidence. She tilted her head, studying him like she was cataloging a new species. You joke too much. It's a coping mechanism. Keeps me from screaming in terror. You should try it sometime. Her ears flicked again, and though her face remained neutral, he could tell she was holding back a smile. He felt absurdly proud, like he'd just cracked an alien safe. Later, they went back into the maintenance tunnels. Jonah carried his toolkit like a shield, while Lyra moved ahead with the quiet precision of someone who trusted her instincts more than the station's groaning walls. The blue glow was still there, brighter now, like it had fed on the station's power overnight. Jonah stopped a safe distance away and crossed his arms. All right, Mystery Night Light Round 2. Lyra, are we seriously ignoring the fact that your pet glowstick is trying to redecorate the walls? It is not my pet, she said calmly. Uh-huh. Then why does it look at you like you owe it money? Her ears twitched. She didn't answer right away, which was answer enough. Jonah rubbed his face. Let me guess. Super classified, top secret. If you tell me you have to kill me kind of thing. Yes, she said. Cool. Just what I always wanted. To die cold and confused. The glow pulsed harder, and this time the frost along the walls rippled like water. Jonah stumbled back. Okay, nope. That's not physics. That's horror movie physics. Lyra stepped closer, unafraid. She raised her hand toward the wall, not quite touching it. Her voice softened. It responds to energy. It hears us. Hears us, Jonah squeaked. What is it, an alien Alexa? She glanced at him, unimpressed. Your comparisons are strange. Strange? I'm being practical. If it starts playing music, I'm out of here. The glow flickered, almost in rhythm with their voices. Jonah swore under his breath. Oh, perfect. It does like noise. I knew my sarcasm would come back to bite me. Lyra turned to him then, her expression more open than before. It is part of the experiment. The one this station should not have attempted. Jonah blinked. Experiment? You mean this isn't just some faulty wall decor? It is a construct, she said carefully. Grown from Europa's ice. A crystalline intelligence, meant to channel energy from the moon itself. The humans here wanted limitless power. He let out a low whistle. Of course they did. Humans can't find their car keys half the time. But sure, let's invent Godrocks. Lyra ignored him. It was supposed to be contained. But it is growing. Feeding. The station's failing systems are not accidents. Jonah pinched the bridge of his nose. Fantastic. So we're basically living in a giant freezer that doubles as an alien battery snack. Do you hear yourself? This is how horror stories start. She studied the glow. Her voice quiet. If it escapes containment, it will not stop at this station. Jonah stared at her, then at the pulsing light. He threw up his hands. Great. Wonderful. Love being trapped with an alien ice god. 10 out of 10 vacation spot. Her lips curved faintly. Your sarcasm is exhausting. Good. If I'm exhausted, maybe I won't panic. The glow pulsed once more, brighter than before, casting their faces in shifting light. Jonah's jokes faltered in his throat. He realized that for all his sarcasm, for all the humor that kept him afloat, something was truly alive in those walls, something watching, something waiting. And Lyra knew it better than anyone. He swallowed hard, then forced a smile anyway. All right, fine. But if this thing starts asking me to sing karaoke, I'm blaming you. Lyra didn't laugh this time. She just reached for his arm, steady, grounding, as the glow throbbed like a heartbeat through the frozen station. Jonah was kneeling over a terminal, wrestling with frozen circuits, when Lyra appeared behind him, her long ears brushing against the console like twin antennae tuned to chaos. We have to move faster, she said. The organism is feeding on the station's energy. At this rate, containment won't hold past the next storm. Fantastic, Jonah said, hitting the terminal with a gloved fist. So we're basically babysitting a glowing snow monster while the entire station screams at us. Could this day get any better? Lyra's ears twitched. Your humor is inappropriate. He grinned. That's how I cope. Besides, if I panic, I might accidentally unplug something important. Like life support. Her pale eyes scanned the room, calculating. We have no choice. You either help me contain it, or we all freeze while the experiment consumes everything. Freezing, got it, Jonah muttered. That's the part one like least, but I can live with it if we survive. She activated a console, and the walls hummed as energy began to redirect. I need you to follow my instructions exactly, she said. Every misstep could trigger a cascade failure. Sure thing, bossy alien overlord, Jonah replied, scrambling to keep up. Just promise you won't kill me if I accidentally hit the wrong button. Lyra's lips twitched, almost a smile. I would prefer to avoid it. Your survival is necessary. Jonah swallowed. He could almost hear the glow pulsing through the station, each beat like a heartbeat growing stronger and more insistent. It didn't just respond to them. It reacted to their presence. He followed Lyra as she directed him to reroute energy conduits, his fingers numb from the cold and shaking from adrenaline. Every time a wire sparked, he flinched, and every time he glanced at her, he saw the same calm determination that had kept him alive since the station began failing. Hold it, Lyra said suddenly. That junction must not overload. Redirect half the energy to the stabilization grid. Jonah hesitated. Half. I usually prefer either all or nothing, but sure, let's try split decisions. Nothing could go wrong with that logic. You joke too much, Lyra said, reaching over to guide his hands. Her touch was startlingly cold, and yet somehow grounding. Jonah's pulse spiked as their fingers brushed, the heat of his own body clashing with her frost-like skin. Precision, she said softly, her voice barely above the hum of the station. Right, he muttered. Precision. Got it. He rerouted the conduits, following her directions. Sparks danced along the panels, and the blue glow in the maintenance tunnel pulsed in response. Brighter this time, almost impatient. Jonah swallowed hard. I think it likes us. he joked weakly. Lyra didn't answer. She was watching the energy flow, her expression unreadable. "It does not like us," she said finally. "It responds. Do not anthropomorphize it." "Noted," Jonah said. "I'll stick to sarcastic nicknames then. How about Frosty the Energy Gobbler?" Her lips twitched, the closest she would get to approval. "Continue," she said. Hours passed, and Jonah's muscles ached from rewiring, rerouting, and rethinking every decision he had ever made about life support. Each time he made a mistake, Lyra's long fingers corrected him, sometimes brushing his skin in the process. He caught himself, noticing how the warmth from his body seeped into her, the frost along her skin dimming slightly whenever he pressed close enough. The absurdity of it made him laugh quietly. "If anyone sees us like this, I'm blaming you for being an overachieving alien heat source." "You are still talking too much," she replied. "Focus." "But you like it," he said, grinning. "Don't lie. Your ears just twitched." Her ears twitched again, faster this time. She didn't argue. Jonah grinned, feeling a strange mixture of relief and excitement. Finally, they reached the stabilization chamber. The organism, a crystalline lattice of ice and light, pulsed with energy so strong it made the floor vibrate beneath them. Jonah froze. "Okay, that thing is definitely sentient, and judging by the look it's giving me, it might be hungry." Lyra stepped forward. "It is not hungry. It is calculating. We must interface with it carefully. Any wrong energy input could release it." Jonah swallowed. "Right. Interface. Careful. No problem. Totally not terrifying." Lyra handed him a conduit tool. "You will feed it energy according to my pattern. Do not deviate." Jonah gripped the tool, feeling the hum of the organism through the metal. He glanced at Lyra. "You know, if we survive this, I think we should celebrate with something cold. Like ice. Very, very cold ice." Her lips curved faintly, almost a smile. "Focus on survival first. Celebration later." Together, they fed energy into the crystalline structure, the glow pulsing brighter with each correct input. Jonah followed Lyra's directions precisely, the rhythm between them developing naturally, unspoken yet vital. His fingers brushed hers repeatedly, and each time the warmth of his skin met her frost-like touch, the bond between them grew, subtle but undeniable. Hours passed like minutes. The station shuddered, groaned, and the storm outside Europa rattled the hull. But within the stabilization chamber, Jonah and Lyra worked in synchrony, half joking, half terrified, entirely alive. When the final conduit was secured, the crystalline organism's pulsing slowed, its energy contained for now. Jonah exhaled, sagging against the wall. "We did it. Sort of. Mostly. Okay, yeah, we survived." Lyra's gaze lingered on him, the sternness softening. "You are still alive. That is sufficient praise." Jonah grinned. "I'll take what I can get. Also, did I mention you're very cold?" But in a friendly way. Her ears twitched once, the smallest acknowledgement of amusement. "Do not overextend your humor." "Noted," he said, collapsing into a corner. "But if I collapse again, I call dibs on the warmest spot in the bunk. That's science." Lyra didn't answer, but she stayed beside him, her hand brushing his shoulder as they watched the glow fade into a steady pulse. The organism was contained, the station stable for the moment, and Jonah realized that, for all the chaos, fear, and cold, he had never felt quite this alive. The alarms had started again before dawn, shrill and insistent, like Europa itself was screaming. Jonah bolted upright, teeth chattering, and Lyra was already moving, long ears angled forward, eyes sharp. "The containment is weakening," she said. "We need to act." Jonah threw on his gloves and jacket. "Great, because what I wanted today was a little light cardio with a sentient ice crystal trying to kill me." Lyra didn't respond to the joke. She grabbed his arm, yanking him toward the maintenance tunnels. "This is serious." "Right serious," Jonah muttered, following her. "Seriously terrifying. Seriously cold. Seriously my life flashing before my eyes." They reached the stabilization chamber, and the crystalline organism pulsed violently, straining against the containment field. Sparks jumped along the conduits, and the blue light flickered like a heartbeat gone rogue. Jonah swallowed hard. Okay. Definitely alive. Definitely calculating. Definitely wants revenge for something. Focus, Lyra said. We have to divert the energy, or it will breach containment and the entire station will be destroyed. Jonah moved beside her, hands shaking slightly, but he followed her instructions. Together, they rerouted power, careful to feed the organism precise energy levels. Each time he brushed against her, heat met frost, and the absurdity of their situation hit him. If anyone saw us now, he whispered, they'd think this was some kind of twisted alien romantic comedy. Lyra's ears twitched, but she didn't scold him. She was too focused, her eyes scanning the pulsing lattice, calculating each move. Do not be careless. I'm a professional, Jonah said. Sort of. Well, not really. But we'll survive, mostly, probably. The organism flared suddenly, sending a shockwave through the chamber. Jonah stumbled, and Lyra's hand shot out, gripping his arm and pulling him steady. Their eyes met, and for a brief moment, the tension broke. You're mine now, she whispered, just above the hum of the containment field. Jonah's chest tightened, but he nodded. And I'm staying, he said. Even if it's freezing and terrifying, I'm staying. The words seemed to anchor them. Working together, they rerouted the final conduits, stabilizing the energy flow. The crystalline lattice pulsed one last time, then settled into a steady glow. Jonah exhaled, gripping the edge of a console. We did it. I think we did it. Alive and not instantly frozen. Miracle of miracles. Lyra's lips curved faintly, the closest she would get to a smile. You survived, she said simply. That is enough. Jonah shook his head, trying to process the adrenaline. Enough. I nearly died, froze solid, and flirted with alien annihilation, but yeah, enough. You joke too much, Lyra said, though the edge of her voice softened. But it is human. Acceptable. Jonah laughed, the tension finally releasing in a burst of absurdity. Acceptable. That's your highest compliment. Her ears twitched again. It is the highest compliment I offer to humans. They walked back through the corridors, checking systems, rerouting power where necessary, and Jonah realized something had shifted. Before this night, he had been a mechanic, cynical, sarcastic, half dead from boredom. Now he was a survivor, someone who had faced the unimaginable and lived, not alone, but alongside someone he couldn't fully understand, someone who had become strangely essential to him. When they finally returned to the bunk, the station was quiet for the first time in days. Jonah peeled off layers of frost from his suit, and Lyra slid in beside him. Narrow space be damned. Still freezing? He asked, grinning. Less, she replied, and her tone had a warmth to it, faint but undeniable. Jonah laughed softly. I'm still charging by the hour for body heat, just so you know. You are noisy, she said, but her hand brushed his shoulder, a gesture so small it could have been missed, but necessary. He smiled, feeling the absurdity of it all. The station had almost killed them, the alien organism had almost ended them, but here they were alive, with something unspoken binding them together. He felt a sense of peace he hadn't realized he craved. The strange intimacy of survival, the ridiculousness of sharing warmth in a collapsing station. You know, he said, his voice soft now, I think I'll keep my life this way. Cold, dangerous, slightly insane, but with you in it, Lyra, I think I could handle almost anything. Her long ears twitched, a tiny, almost imperceptible acknowledgement. Then survive, she said. Jonah leaned back, letting the warmth from her body seep into him, feeling it steady him, anchor him. The glow of the containment chamber hummed softly in the distance, no longer threatening, no longer pulsing with menace, but a reminder of what they had endured together. He laughed quietly to himself. I guess this is our story now, he said. 2 misfits, a glowing monster, and a really tiny bunk. Lyra's lips curved faintly. Do not be ridiculous. Exactly, Jonah said, curling into her side. Exactly ridiculous. But surviving together. That's the important part. They lay there, bodies pressed close, the cold kept at bay by their shared warmth, and for the first time in the station's long, failing life, Jonah felt completely, undeniably alive. The end.